Assalamu alaikum, Sayyid.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.
I just wanted to begin by first thanking you for, I know you have a really busy schedule, taking some time out of your schedule to come and join us, inshallah. So thank you very much for that. I wanted to kind of begin this podcast with a funny story. Any funny story that you've experienced?
First and foremost, I would like to thank for giving this opportunity, and it's my honor to be at your service. Yes, I do have lots of funny stories in my lifetime, and if I go back to my turning point, which is marriage. Traditionally in India and in Middle East, they have different types of marriages. One of that is arranged marriage.
Okay.
The story goes like that: when I was 17, my mother and my father, they were talking about my marriage. It was kind of funny because I was in Qom, Iran, studying. My mother keep asking me that when you want to get married. I said, Inshallah, soon. Upon my kind of announcement that I'm ready for marriage, my parents, they went and they saw the wife which I'm with. She's mother of 5 kids for me. Alhamdulillah. I said, okay, mom, I want to go and to see her. My mother, she said that no, you can't see them. I said, I can't see, I can't talk, I can't feel who she is. So all of that is after marriage.
Yeah.
Said, after the fact? She said, yes. That's how our culture works. I said, well, I want to see her size. I want to see how she laughs. I want to see how she talks and all of that. So I want to be with her for my lifetime. It's not just like few minutes of commitment. She said, well, that is the system. Because I was in Qom, and Qom in Iran is a different atmosphere. It's kind of more open to it. And, the groom can go and see the bride and can talk. But in India, especially in Alipur, which is one of the villages of India, in South India, Bangalore, near Bangalore, we had a very traditional culture, still now. And I said, okay, at least I want to make sure that she is okay. And can I have a picture? She said, no, you can't have a picture too.
Not even a picture.
Not even a picture. I said, okay. Then I talked to my sister and I said, you know what? I can give you this much of money. Basically, I bribe her.
You bribed your sister.
Yeah. And go and bring a picture for me. I can see her picture.
Yeah.
She brought a picture of 7, 8 girls standing. I was imagining, she's my wife, she's my wife, she's my wife. Just, oh, she cannot be. Just, I was talking to myself, looking at the picture. And all of a sudden, my mom, she comes and she's, wow, what is going on? I said, Mom, just I want to see the pictures. You can't have a shame because this is something very bad for us. I said, okay, no problem. That was the beginning. Then what happened is I want to just call her, at least see if she happened to pick up. I can talk to her. My father-in-law, may Allah bless his soul, he died a couple of years back. He used to sit next to telephone, old telephones, right? Landline. He used to sit there, and when I call their house, bell is ringing. My father-in-law picks up, and he says, hello. I used to hang on.
You used to hang up.
Yes. And then one day he came to our home,
Yeah.
and when they were talking about, how to proceed the marriage, what should be the next stage and all of that, my father-in-law was talking to my father, and gentle conversation says that, nowadays some people, they are very noisy people, and they're calling left and right to my home. And if I find out that, person, I will choke his neck. I said, astaghfirullah. That was the beginning of my marriage. So I did not, I was not able to see my wife at all.
Never. Until you were
Until marriage and after aqd and after marriage, when she kind of came into our home, which is a traditional, to bring her from their home to our home. all of a sudden I saw, mashallah. That was the beginning.
And at that point, it was too late. So if it hadn't been mashallah,
That's
That's
it.
it.
That's it. Yes. I hope that you guys will learn the lesson. And
I mean, it's so different today. It's just funny that you had these experiences today. They want completely the opposite.
no, not necessarily. Even my two sons, Ishaq
Really?
and Ishraq,
Yeah.
I said, you want to marry here in America? They said, well, we'll see all of that. And then we end up to go to India for marriage. And same thing happened for them.
Really?
The only difference is they got to see the picture.
Oh, okay.
But I was not able to see the picture too. That is the only difference.
Wow.
Both of them, Ishaq and Ishraq, they were not able to talk to their wives before marriage.
Wow.
They never had any communication, no face-to-face, one-on-one meetings. Only the difference is now a little bit of progress with picture.
With the picture.
Yes.
Wow. This is very different from just being raised in the U.S. and my own experiences. That's amazing. You mentioned your childhood. I just wanted to get a little bit into it, so we know a little bit about you. How was your childhood? I know you said you grew up in Alipur.
Yes,
In India?
Alipur, India is one of the villages.
Okay.
Back then, the population of my town was less than 4,000. But right now, it's kind of 16 to 18,000 population in Alipur. Predominantly the Shia Muslim. They live in Alipur. Apparently, two brothers, they moved from Iran.
Okay.
And their legacy is basically Alipur.
Ah.
And I born and raised in that small town, and I had my childhood there. I spent there, and yeah.
So it was a very small town.
A small town to the point that after my birth, my father, he bought a car in 1971. That was the first car in whole region.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. It's just when I think about how much times have changed, especially for much of the world. I'm sure now they have cell phones and
They have everything.
Everything.
now. Yes.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
changed. Yeah.
Was it a very religious city?
Yeah, it's a religious cities to the point that people, they can't mess around one another because everyone knows everything. I remember that in my childhood, if I do something bad, people from the masjid to the home, everyone will discipline me.
Wow.
Sometimes some people, they used to beat me up, and everyone is like your parent, like your uncle, like your brother, right?
Yeah.
To the point that we had no courage to do anything bad because we know that whole Alipur will be a family.
Wow.
Yes. So, from masjid, even to the, people on the street, everyone, we know each other. Kind of, we raised together, we, live together, and everyone's, the happiness is considered their happiness, and sadness is sadness. So it was a very cozy, small, religious town. But right now it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming it was all Muslim?
Yeah, predominantly
Predominantly
Muslims, like maybe 95%.
95%.
Yes.
So you're growing up in a small town in India. At some point, you make this decision to move, I would assume, thousands of miles away and go study at the Hawza. What was the reason that kind of brought you to this point?
Again, I'm writing a book about my
Okay.
life.
You don't
I
want to give out
kind
the
of-
secrets yet?
No, I can give you. I cannot give some background of it. I can tell you in few minutes.
Yeah, of course.
From my childhood, I was so, based on my parents and also others, smart kid. And to the point that I finished high school, at the age of 13.
Really?
So my father, he had the dream of sending me to the medical school. So always he was thinking that I can be a physician and doctor, right? And also I want to go with the flow, whatever the flow is. And at that time, doctor or physician is a kind of privilege. And it's something people, they want to, right? Especially those who can afford. It was a kind of dream. So I thought also it's a good idea, no problem. But my mother, she wanted to send me for Hausa. My mother's reason is he can be a good person for serving and whatever she has in her mind. But my father argues, and he said that no, he should go to become a physician. That was the argument constantly in our home till the final test of the high school, which is 10th grade. High school in India is 10th grade. After 10th grade, they go to college, pre-university, PUC, pre-university, right? But in here, they have 12th grade for high school. There is 10th grade is high school. I was smart and I know what I'm doing, but some other people, they were cheating. My friends, the papers, whatever. And even they don't know which question is related to what answer, right? They were asking me here, there. I used to guide them that, oh, that is not the answer, this is the answer. Kind of, I was also a child, I was helping them. And apparently I was the youngest one among the other my friends. So everyone or around those who are sitting around me, they want to get some answer. To the point that all of a sudden the inspector walks in. That inspector is other than the person who's in charge to take care of this test. It's a kind of teacher. The inspector, he has higher authority. If someone is missing, he has to suspend right away. And
there's no mercy.
No mercy. Upon the arrival of the inspector in the classroom, one of my friends, he has lots of the answers,
Like cheat sheets. Yeah.
He threw it everywhere, and then they caught 3 or 4 of us. Among them, I also. When I was removed from the classroom, I clearly remember that every single person was shocked, to the point that janitorial person, the teacher, the principal were crying. Said, no, he cannot cheat, because there is no reason for me to cheat, because I know everything. Once we went to the office room, the principal office, and he said that, okay, you have any explanation? I said, that's not mine. He said, okay, who's that? I don't want to, kind of tell that this is belong to this person, that person. End of the day, what happens is the principal, he asked the inspector that if you want to make sure that he is not the person, you can ask him any question. And I also said that, please ask me any question, whatever they had. He asked me 3-4 questions. I was ready to answer any question. And then he was shocked. He said, then if that's the case, who's this one? I said, I can't. They said that our policy, if you don't tell that, I cannot be mercy upon you.
Wow.
And then he suspended.
Wow.
When he suspended, what happens? This news, because it's a small village, spread everywhere, to the point that I had no face to go to Alipur. Right? I cannot walk in town. My father, he took me and he slapped me. And then he said that I cannot keep you here in Alipur.
Really? To this point?
Yes. And it's better for you to go to Qom.
Oh, wow.
So then my mother's dream came to, she was happy that, oh, that is my dream. So my mother was happy. My father was not happy, but my father had no choice but to send me to Qom. That was the beginning, and I went to Qom.
That's an amazing story. I remember we were talking with, Seyed Wahidi, and just in life, sometimes you're going in one direction.
That's true.
And then something happens that you could never imagine, and it completely changes the course of your life.
That's true.
And maybe at that time too, it was something very difficult, and you're very, you're suffering because of it. And then later, when you look back, you realize this was a mercy of Allah.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
Yeah. SubhanAllah. And then this was kind of the course that set you towards the
That's
Hajj.
true. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, we had a series of really interesting topics I wanted to get into with you. And the first set of questions, the first kind of set of the conversation is on the topic of community building. I think community, from my perspective, it's always been a very important, part of my Islamic identity. But when I kind of look around, I'm looking around at the society that we live in, it appears that for many people, they feel like community may not be necessary. Yeah, so my question to you, and I want to kind of start this discussion off here, is do you feel that Islamically, an Islamic community is necessary in the West? Could people exist outside of an Islamic community and still maintain that sense of Islam that they have?
You see, there's lots of components to that to understand, to have a better picture. First and foremost, you have to see that a person as a Muslim identity carrying person who will going to establish a good atmosphere of Islamic community, they cannot live and cannot continue without a community. As hadith from Holy Prophet indicates that al-mu'minu fil masjid kas-samaki fil ma. The relationship between mu'min and masjid is a water to fish. Mm-hmm. If fish wants to survive, the only way is to have water. Without water, a fish cannot survive. Same thing, mu'min cannot survive his iman and cannot continue his iman without having a masjid and good community. Right? That is an essential point. So, when we see community, obviously we're not talking about complete Islamic, 9-year solution with judiciary system, with government and everything. No, at least you should have some sense of community to continue your faith, right? And also your children and future. So here in Western countries, if you go back to 50 years, people, those who migrate from India, Pakistan, Iran, or Middle East, or other countries, those who are Muslims, upon their arrival here, the first thing what they did is they start to build an Islamic center. That is a sense of community, right? And Alhamdulillah, right now we're enjoying that. So in order to continue your identity and also your practices, and also you need to have your culture, there's only one way, that is to have a community. Without community, you cannot survive. You cannot have any of these elements.
I mean, I know many, just growing up here, in the West, it was interesting. I would see many of my friends, at some point they would come to the masjid, so they would be coming to the masjid and they would be very religious. They would be, because they felt the sense of belonging to the center. At some point though, maybe they would stop coming. And it was amazing that I would look and I would see them after 6 months, after 1 year, after 2 years. And you could see that they had started to change. So in terms of their faith, in terms of their iman, they had begun to go in a completely different direction. And so it became really clear for me as well that, as soon as you remove the Muslim from the community, their iman begins to fall. They begin to go into different deviations. And shaitan is very active as well. That, for example, if you don't come to the masjid for 1 month, 2 months, you feel the sense of not wanting to go.
Exactly, that's what hadith says,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Mu'min and masjid, a community, as a water to fish. Mm-hmm. You cannot survive your iman. You can be whatever you want to, but you cannot be mu'min without having a good community. So lots of examples and lots of people, they come and they share their own examples. Yes, in some places where they don't have a Muslim community there, parents, they can take the role of that community and they can do so much. But after all, once you pass that one stage, in order to go to the second stage, you cannot, unless you need to have a system, community where you can go, where you can hang around, you can talk, and you can have your emotional and social needs met there. I mean, it's more to it. Just it's not a few things on surface.
Many times a community begins. And we've seen that there's different masajids and different centers. And some centers, they seem to be very successful. And some centers, they seem to fail after a very short period of time. And I've noticed there are some things, and for me it's still a question, but there are some key characteristics which make some communities very strong, and it binds the people together, and they're able to do things together. And then there are some characteristics which have the opposite effect, that they push people away from one another. I want to see what your, take on this was. What are the key characteristics that a center or a community could have which keeps them together, and then what are those things that we should avoid?
There's a lengthy discussion we can have about that, because you have to go and you have to see the roots of that.
Yes.
Just we cannot talk about surface.
But if you could
So,
summarize, for
I can
example.
summarize some of those, because
Yes,
we need
yes.
to talk and tackle to the roots, and you have to take out the weeds from its roots in order to see a good result. Otherwise, you're going to cut up with the same problems.
Yes,
One of
yes.
the very important point is, once you're building the masjids or community center or Islamic center, you have to see that what is the purpose and mission and vision of that center. If it's just pleasing you yourself, you have all your right to do whatever you want. But if you want to create that for a community, then you have to bring the community and give them a sense of belonging. I can give you one simple example. I was in one of the cities in America. I don't want to tell that because it's going to be ghaibat or whatever. And one of the brother, he introduced me that, Alhamdulillah, I am the president of this center from last 37 years or so. I said, Inna lillah wa inna ilayhi raji'un. He was shocked.
Yeah.
I said, why? I said, in the last 37 years, if you are not able to groom and train or give the sense of belonging to other people, you fail to contribute to this center. If you say that this is my home, I'm in charge of my home from the last 30, 40 years, I'm happy. But if you build this as Islamic center, and if you say that, it's kind of, not acceptable to me. You need to understand this point. So the first point is giving this sense of belonging. The second point is you need to talk and discuss about different aspects and needs of the community. What community needs? Our youth, our children, our women, indigenous people, converts, those who come from different aspects. We need to see the needs of all of them. Lots of times what happens is we want to bring the types of speakers which we like it, or only certain languages. But once we say that Innal masajida lillah, this masjid is for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not for my own desire. Right? So you have to see the needs of the community. What are the needs and how we are tackling those needs? That's the second point. The third point also we have to understand is very important for all of us is you need to have a nishats, high morale, as a beautiful atmosphere in the masjids, welcoming atmosphere and giving everyone a chance, and everyone has to feel that this is my home, to the point that our masajid, Islamic center, should consider as a home, right? The things which can destroy the community are people they can leave, after a while, is when they see that is lots of gossiping, or just attacking to each other, mistrust, miscommunication, or discrimination, or we're tackling the same issues and we are not seeing from the bigger picture, an educational program and so on and so forth. For example, if you go to masjid, always they have only one type of programs. You're going to get bored, right?
Yeah.
You need to have different types of programs, speakers. The healthy thing is people, when they come, they have different needs, from spiritual to social to everything, right? So once people, they come to our masajid or Islamic centers or community, they should feel that I can get something out of this. So once I come, sometimes I will join the center because I want to hear the dua. So you need to have a good supplications and du'as program, spiritual program. Sometimes a prayer, right? So if you don't have a Jamaat prayer, congregational prayers, it's not attractive to some people, right? Or sometimes a good speaker, sometimes a good atmosphere, welcoming, and sometimes a tabarruk, and also cleanliness. It's a kind of holistic approach. So not having those elements, people will turn away and take one step back and they scratch their head. Why I have to try? Because our centers are not around our homes. One of the problems we are facing is center is minimum 5-10 minutes, but some people they drive 1 hour 2 hours. So if they drive 1 hour 2 hours, they should get something. If we are not providing that, then why they have to come and they have to drive?
So essentially, these centers, people have to feel that there's tangible benefit. And so in order to do that, we have to have a multifaceted approach to the type. I mean, some people are after, the spirituality through the dua. Some people are after a sense of friendship. They want to find friends who are religious as well. Some people, they want the intellectual side. They want to be hearing speeches. So we have to tackle this from a multifaceted way. And, you were mentioning the issue of gossip. I've also seen that when, especially new people come, and especially converts, they see like a person who's from a ethnic, white American background. In many of the centers, the first thought is that he must be a jasus, a spy, right? And then so, instantly they kind of push the person away, and the person has just become a Muslim, and he's just turned, not turned his back, but he's been pushed away from, maybe his family members, from his co-workers, because he's converted to this new religion, and now he's entered this community, and now they're pushing him away.
So, look, my, the feelings about any center is, if you don't have a strong roots, as if you have a cut off roots tree, seems that is good, but that's good for only, Christmas. After Christmas time, because there is no roots, it will die down. Right? Same thing our centers. What are the roots of a good center? The roots of the good centers is one, a good program for the children, and also you need to bring indigenous people, revert, converts, those who are local. So they are the one who we're going to consider as the roots of any centers. Maybe the immigrant people, they build in the beginning, any center, but if they're able to create a good atmosphere for the converts and also for the children, that is the roots. And if you have stronger roots, that can last longer and also have a better benefits. So in that case, if we're not able to bring the converts or reverts or indigenous people, we're going to be in big problem, big trouble. Why? Because we failed to introduce, because in my opinion, masajid, Islamic centers are embassies. And we as ambassadors, so embassy has a purpose, right? So if you want to have embassy, and embassies only giving the services for the ambassadors, that embassy will collapse. So this embassy should give the services to whom? To the indigenous people, to the community, to our children. If they are getting more benefit, we are doing good job. But if they are not coming to our centers are not open to them, if our children, they're not getting what they should be, as if you have a beautiful embassy, fancy embassy, but that embassy can serve only for the ambassador and few people, those who are working in that embassy, how are you going to have that?
So in a way, you're almost, it's interesting that you're mentioning that, you see the indigenous people and, whoever is from this land, wherever country that you're in, you're almost, seeing them as if they are the ones who are going to give roots and substance to the community. And, I was thinking about this point that, when an immigrant comes to a new country, there's many things that they don't know, for example. But if new Muslims are coming in from that indigenous population, the people of that country, they will know how to take that message to their people.
That's true.
They've grown up here, they've dealt with these people. So the message is going to be custom tailored to them, and then that is going to give longevity to that masjid, to that center. And if you're only serving this tiny population, then it's never going to grow. It's never going to have this lasting effect.
Absolutely. One of the major problem with the immigrant people like me is we cannot comprehend the the magnitude and scope of challenges our children, our indigenous people are facing. Because I'm surrounded within my own boundaries, and I think that this is my life. You have to come out from that.
And there's even mental boundaries as well. That when
That's
you
true.
grow up in a place,
That's true.
right? Your mind is formed by that place.
That's true. That's why most of our centers, what happens is, for example, if you have a Iranian center, it's only Farsi program. Once you enter there, you don't feel that this center is for everyone, welcoming everyone. Or if you have a Pakistani center or Arab centers, you don't feel, if you're not Pakistani or Arab, that's your home.
It feels as if you've gone to India or
Something
Iran
like
or,
that.
yeah.
Okay, so our center should not be strange for the people. Right? Our center should not be a place where I cannot connect. So my point here is not only in terms of the scope of programs, from decoration, from welcoming, from leadership, and so on and so forth. We need to have a multicultural aspect to it. So people, they can have a complete picture, right? For example, that's why what we do is I want to make sure that in all the leadership levels, whether board members or even any serving committees, I want to make sure that it should be some youth, it should be some indigenous people, it should be some multi-language people, so we can give a proper message. So the point here is, yes, one of the point is, we as a immigrant people, we may not be a right people to understand the scope of problem and take it to the next level. But the indigenous people, our youth, those who born and raised here, they can be a good buffer. So what I can do is I can facilitate. I have to understand the complete picture, and I can be a good, a guide for them.
I mean, most of the masajids that we have here in the West, they tend to be ethnocentric. So, for example, you're going to have one center which is only for Farsi speakers. Their programs are in Farsi. You know, the entire place, when you walk in, it's like you walked into someone's house in Tehran. Yeah. Another center is going to be an all Iraqi or Arab center. And when you walk in again, you're transported, 10,000 miles that way. So in this sense, do you think that these centers, which are very common and they're all over the place, do you think these are going to last?
You have to take one step back. Those who invested and those who came up with this, sacrifice and ideas to build that center, they had a pure and sincere intentions.
Without a doubt.
And I commend for their, effort and dedications and devotions and commitment. No doubt about that. But the problem here is their vision was to create a good atmosphere for the children and for the future generations, and also for the Muslim community. But they don't know how to do and what to do. Then what they do is they take the example of, if I'm from India, I take example of Indian type of Imam Barga or Hussainiya Islamic Center, and I want to bring the flavor of that in order to continue my faith. So the missing link here is not understanding the circumstances and conditions of this time and era. Otherwise, the first intention to build the center was great,
Yes.
commendable. And also the second intention, I don't know how to do. Then what I do is I bring the copy of my own center from my own hometown, and I want to make that as an example. The intention is good, but the outcome may not be sustainable. So if we keep doing that, we cannot, obviously, because we're going to lose our children, let alone about others.
No, I remember you mentioned when I was a kid, I spoke Farsi, right? And depending on the programs, whatever language they were, my friends also spoke whatever languages were being spoken at the different masajids. But one of the interesting things is that as soon as the speech started, we would leave. And I remember we had this like 7-Eleven or AM, PM, and we'd always go, we'd buy candy, we'd buy snacks. And that was our go-to. And I remember the reason behind it wasn't that, we didn't want to listen to the speeches. It was that emotionally, I wasn't connecting with the speech.
That's true. I mean, that's one of the aspects, right? Mm-hmm. But more to it. At least when you were in that position, you used to go out buy some candies,
Yeah.
to have some friend circle, and so on and so forth. But right now, not all these centers, they have that type of facility, because either centers are completely in remote areas.
That's true.
They don't have any neighbors, or they don't have same age, colleagues or friends to hang around. So then, for example, if I bring my son to a center where he can't find a friends there, or he can't find a loophole to go out of the center to 7-Eleven or something,
Yeah.
then what he's going to do? He's going to be stuck there for 1 hour, 2 hours,
torture.
and he will be bored and kind of torture. And next time, even if me as a parent, if I force my son go to center, he will resist. And at the most, I can force him till 13, 14, or 15. After 15, when our children, the youth, they find the way, they will resist, and they will not going to go to the Islamic centers. That's the major problem.
That's what we're seeing as well. That as soon as the youth, they kind of hit an age where they have a little stronger will, and at that point they begin to resist. They're
That's
like, I don't want to come. I don't. And then the parents are panicking. The parents are panicking because they don't know what to do. What they are seeing is that their kid suddenly, he's getting bigger, right? He's past the age of bulugh, and now he's resisting. He doesn't want to go to the masjid. From your perspective, what can we do to make our masajids, more suitable, more attractive towards the youth? Because whatever's happening right now, it doesn't seem to be working, in general.
I can give you my own example here. When I joined this Sabah community here in Bay Area, San Jose, California, when I was looking to the budget of the Sabah, I saw that the 95% of the budget is spent for the majalis in Urdu, or most of the programs are geared towards the adult. When I say adult, meaning those who are here as a cultural center, right? It was good for them. It was working. That was a blood and oxygen for them. In order to survive as a mu'min or Muslim, they need to have a good center. They did a great job, and I commend for them. But I begin to ask that, then what we have to offer to our children? Oh, only Sunday school, which is a limited, timings, and also is a very kind of a different atmosphere. One small hall with lots of dividers, and then we have to have, like, for example, 4, 5 classes there. Then once a year picnic, which they spend $300-400. I said, with this, how are we going to capture our youth, and how are we going to sustain this? It is impossible. Then we change it to that, right? The first thing what we did is, okay, let's have one program, English. And if you want to have any other program, then addition to English, Urdu, Farsi, Arabi. It's not a problem to have Urdu, Farsi, Arabi, but let's agree that if you want to have one program, that program only should be in English, where everyone can understand. We established that. And then once we established that, we tried to bring the speakers, those who can speak and connect to the youth or children, indigenous people, local people. That was a good step. Then second, we said, okay, we have to have more recreational programs for the youth. It's not only inside of the masjid, we can take them out. So then we had a Al-Hasnain conference, or Camp Noor, or some hiking, or some of the programs. While we go to hiking, or we had other tournaments, we find some time to have a Jamaat prayer and 5-10 minutes of talk. That was the suitable and sweet time for the youth. They can have a good time there, and they can also connect. So with that, they can have a good bond among themselves. That create a good atmosphere, and they can learn from each other, and they can exchange the telephone number or whatever, and they can build relationships. So Sabah was kind of hub for the people to have some friendships. I can go and I can have my spiritual needs, and so on and so forth. And also I can have entertainment. I can have some, fun activities, barbecues, and so on and so forth. So that was the beginning. And then we had a full-time school and so on and so forth, other programs. So in general, if you want to create a good atmosphere, you need to keep in mind that good atmosphere is not only good speaker. Whatever it brings the children, the youth, and also the indigenous people, that should be the top priority. And also sometimes we had when people they see masjids is not only for namaz. We had a SAT, SAT exam, prep, and also some students, they used to struggle in math or science or language arts or life skills. We bring some people. I said, that's good. We have to attract more people for summer classes, winter classes, after school, or so on and so forth. When people, they see that, wow, I can go to this center for different needs. My center is not only Thursday night, a Friday prayer, or once a year, which is Ramadan or Muharram, more to it. So then that will open lots of opportunities for people to go and to get some benefits from masjid.
One of the things that's interesting is that when you create that kind of a center that is meeting people's needs from from a multifaceted way, it creates life, and in a way it creates progress. That a person can look at this center and they can say, okay, this center is going somewhere. I want to be with this center. Yeah, I want to. And one of the interesting things about youth is that because they're at that peak of life, if you look at someone who's 17, 18, 20, 25, they're just bubbling with life. Yeah. Because of that, I think that when you put them in a certain situation, they can sense that this place is a place of life. And then this other place is a place where it's dead. Nothing is happening. And so many of the massages, we joke, we call it like a retirement center.
Yeah.
It's not maybe the best term, but when you enter into this masjid, you see that everyone is 60 plus, 70 plus.
Yeah, that's because of, I think, with good intentions, with mismanagement. One of the things is you need to bring a new blood and new people in the leadership also board. So what we have in our Sabah Center, and also I promote all other places, is to have a cap, right? You serve for 2 years, 2 terms, 4 years, step down and give the time to other people. And also we want to groom and bring the youth in the management, operations, and the board. Once the youth, they will come with their own baggage. What is the baggage? Oh, I want to serve my future generations.
Yeah.
I have to see the needs of my age people. So we have smaller children, what we have for them, and so on and so forth. Otherwise, if I started a center 30 years back, now my children are big, they're married, they're out. Me and my wife, they're 70s, 80s. All what we need is just a place to go and to get peace from that place.
Yeah.
So then what happens is it's going to be a senior citizen place, and only people, those who are like my age, they come, and that's it. So then the youth, they will go away because I don't see the needs of them.
Yeah.
Because when I started my my mission or the center, I had different needs, and today I'm retired. I don't have anything to do. Just I need some Urdu, majalis, beautiful style and culture. I enjoy that. Not understanding the needs of the youth. So if I was not there in the board, you have a new people, the youth, they're in the board, they think about the different programs to bring different people. So one of the very important point is our youth, they have to understand that they should get into the leadership.
Yeah.
And the boards.
But many masajids, they don't allow this. I mean, I've been to so many centers that you see that the board is kind of taken by these individuals, and they can't let go. What is the reason behind this? Why is it that they can't let go and bring the youth and bring them into this
So
structure?
one of the main reason for them is they say they don't see that the youth, they are capable to take it to the next level. Because they see that, okay, they're not contributing anything, they're not volunteering, they're not giving any money. And then if you're not committed to this center, why I should give you the platform, right? Maybe that's a wrong strategy, but that's one of the things. My humble request to all the youth is go and get involved. If you are well connected and involved in a center, then you are proving yourself that I am capable to take this leadership, right? Otherwise, if you sit in the back seat and you hope that someone will give me the leverage of taking the center to the next level and so on and so forth, you cannot. My rough estimate is still till today, majority of these centers are funded and also sponsored and also volunteered by the immigrant peoples. And maybe that's not a good picture, but that's what it is.
So your recommendation to the youth is that don't wait. Move up front and volunteer and push and, assist in whatever way you can, and then position yourself so that when there is an opportunity, for example, helping at a board level, that you will be selected for that.
Of course. And I saw that in different centers, not one or two centers. When they see that someone is well connected and active and people, they see the value of that person, there is a place for that person. So here I think is a two-way we have to fix. It's not one way, right? I'm sure that those who are in management, they are there with good intentions.
Yes.
Because there's not a paid position, right? Because it's not paid position, they have lots of passions. But their strategical mistake is they don't know how to groom and how to train and how to trust. My humble request to the management also is, Baba, trust them, give them some task, groom them. Miracle cannot happen over the night. You need to, give them, trust them. And I'm sure that first time, second time, third time, they will make a mistake.
Of course.
But they will learn, right? Once they will learn, they will do better job.
Say this reminds me of a story that when the Prophet was first beginning to, he's going to invite the people, the Da'watul Ashira. So he's going to invite all of his relatives. He invites all of his relatives, but he does all of this through Imam Ali alayhi salam. So he tells Imam Ali, for example, to prepare the meeting place, and he says to prepare the food. And many people, when they think Imam Ali, they think, an older version of Imam Ali. But when we look in history, you see that Imam Ali at this time was something like 12 years old, 13 years old. And it's amazing, that you think to yourself, the Prophet, he entrusts, and this is the most important meeting of his, where he's going to introduce all of his relatives to Islam. He's entrusting the preparation and the organization of this meeting to a 12 or 13-year-old boy.
That's true. So here is a point. We're not talking about Imam Ali Islam as a maqam of imamats.
Yeah.
Rather, we have to see that Holy Prophet's mission and vision and how he is preparing and grooming Imam Ali Islam for that high position, not after he is grown up and all of that, from the childhood. So when Holy Prophet is training him from childhood, that can give us two great lessons. The first lesson is Holy Prophet is trusting Imam Ali in his childhood. And second, Imam Ali also is engaging with Holy Prophet. He's following the instruction of Holy Prophet. And he wants to show that I'm learning and I'm giving what are you asking for. Right? So if we have the same strategy in our centers, the management, they should have an open discussion with youth. Yeah. They have to trust. And youth also, they should engage. Because if you kind of take a back seat and say, you know what, I don't want to go to this center. What is the solution? Nothing. Right? So that's how we are losing. We have to go back one step and we have to think and we need to engage. I think this is a two-way solution.
Without
It's not
doubt.
one way, right? So only, it's not that management they have to fix or youth, both of them. I mean, we have to train that. That's a job of me and you. And those who are kind of in leadership position, we have to go and we have to speak on behalf of youth to those who are in management. And also we have to talk and discuss from the management pain to the youth. Because when I go to other centers, lots of the board members, they complain, oh, we don't have any volunteers. Rightfully they are complaining. Or why, for example, youth, they are not there. Well, you can say that, okay, because they're not giving a platform for them. But did you try your best? So then we have to kind of come up with good solution for both of them to have a good result, inshallah.
You know, Sid, one of the things that I've also noticed, so, I've been here in Sabah, we've been here in the Bay Area for the past week, and one of the things I've noticed that you've done, so we're talking about integrating different, parts of the community and bringing them together. One of the things I've noticed you've done is you've been able to, what I consider to be a miracle, and you've pulled the different ethnic groups, all of them together into one center. How are you able to do this? Because, when I look at the vast majority of the religious centers, it's going to be the Farsi, it's a Farsi masjid. It's a Arab, masjid. It's a Indo-Pak masjid. What did you do to bring all these people together?
So if you look at the history of Sabah in early 80s when they came up with the idea of having Islamic center, it was heavily Indo-Pak, immigrant people, those who came up with this idea, and they did a great job to start this movement, right? When I joined this community in 2000, I saw that there's lots of small centers, and each center, they have their own challenges, and they want to do something, right? None of them, they're capable to do big things, especially for the youth and so on and so forth. Then what I did is I reached out to the Arab community, Farsi community, and Urdu community, and also youth, and also indigenous, the convert people. So what's your challenges? What is our challenges? What we want to do? We had a lengthy discussion for, I remember that 2-3 years.
Really?
And then I was able to understand them. And when I take it to the Sabah management, it was not that, oh, you need to accept them. No. I have to create an atmosphere that they should feel that there is their benefit and their future benefit is to include them.
So the first stage was dialogue.
Dialogue.
It seems so simple, but I
Yes,
think we often skip it.
we understand each other, right? Then when we had a good understanding, the youth, they said, you know what? We need to have our own platform. Good. Iranians, we need to have our own platform. Good. Arab, we need to have our own platform. Urdu. Then we say, you know what? If you have one small center or one majlis, let's do it English, which is good for all. Then if you want to have a Muharram, Safar, Ramadan, or some peak time where people, they want to come, they want to learn lots, and also they want to have their own majalis, we say, okay, we need to have a good accommodation for Urdu people, Farsi people, Arab people, and English people. Lots of centers, what they do is they want to take the peak, a good time, a good place for one ethnic center, or the language. I said, no, that's not right. We need to have a parallel program. If you don't have a parallel program, having first English and then Urdu and Farsi, you cannot continue because the time frame and all other limitations. Then we said, okay, we have to agree that we need to create a good atmosphere for all the languages. So bring Farsi people, Urdu, Arabi, and English. Then we say, okay, who's going to do that? One person cannot. So have a teams, right? One committee is Urdu program committee, one Farsi committee, one Arabic committee, and one English and youth. So the English and youth committee is from youth people. Farsi is from Afghanian and Iranian. Urdu is from Indo-Pak. Arab is from Iraq, or Lebanon, or Saudi, whatever their dynamics are. So then we make those committees, and we empower them that this is your duty, and your duty is to bring a good speaker. Your duty is to bring your own people. When it comes to the food, let's have two types of food.
Yeah.
One is spicy and one is non-spicy.
Yeah.
Because if you want to serve only spicy food, then non-spicy people are going to complain.
You're going to lose
Yes.
your population
So then
as well.
it's good to have a both. And then people, they begin to say, even, okay, if that is the case, to change our bylaw. In our bylaw, put that you need to have a different dynamics. You need to have a youth in the board, so you can secure that. You need to have Urdu people, Farsi people, Arabic people based on today's circumstances. But tomorrow changes,
Yeah.
then there is no need to have Urdu, Farsi, Arabic, because everyone is considered as a American.
Yeah.
So you can take out that. But right now, that's the dynamics. So what we did is not only to have a dialogues to understand the needs and circumstances, and then give them a platform and make them feel that this center is belong to you, and create committees, and also give them a space in the board. So once they feel that they're engaged in every areas, then they feel that this is my center. Otherwise, if you don't do that, what happens? Lots of centers, okay, you're welcome, but I want to have only my own program.
So you're welcome, but I'm in control.
That's not
going to work.
Yes.
Was this easy?
It's not that easy,
Yeah.
but doable, especially if you begin to bring people and talk to each other. It's going to be a little bit lengthy process, but doable.
Sayyid, it's interesting. You mentioned this, and then I was just remembering in Islamic history that at its essence, when the Prophet came to the city of Medina and he was building this first Islamic community, this is really what he was doing. That on one hand, he brings the Ansar. And who are the Ansar? They're from two different tribes that have been killing each other for a very long time. And he somehow brings these tribes together who've been killing each other, and now they're the best of friends. Then on top of this, he brings, the Muhajirun, right? The Muhajirs from the city of Mecca, he brings them as well, and then he's integrating them together. And then he's pairing, members of for example.
That's true.
Yeah, so what he's doing, he's bringing all of these different people in, and as the community grows and as the movement grows, for example, the Bedouins begin to come in, and different, people from different cities, from Yemen, from different regions begin to come in, and he's integrating all of these people in a way that really they love one another. They care about one another, and to the point where, they're, in some cases we see they were willing to give half or all of their wealth to the other individual.
Why? Because they created an atmosphere of brotherhood, and they saw the benefit of a community.
Yeah.
But most of the youth, they don't see any benefit for their needs. Or other cultural people, for example, if as an Islamic center geared towards the Urdu people, Farsi people, they don't see that that's my place, right? So Holy Prophet, what he did is, he was able to create a good atmosphere in Medina. Whether you're Muhajir or Ansar, you're not alien. You belong to this ummah. And both of you have equal right. You're Arab, Ajam, you're black, you're white, you're male, female, regardless of your background. Even those who used to fight against Holy Prophet, the moment they accept Holy Prophet, then there is no double standard. Till yesterday, the same person was fighting. Today, he's a lady. Yesterday, the same Salman was kind of strange person. Today, he's an ambassador of Holy Prophet. So basically, Holy Prophet he did not create it with lip service, but gave them autonomy, sense. And then Muhajir, what they did is, they saw their own benefits. Then why they have to fight? The Ansar, the local indigenous people, they saw the benefit of immigrants. With immigrants, they had better opportunities, the social benefits, economical benefits, spiritual benefits, all other benefits. Then they were happy. Wow, right now we are growing. Right now we are moving to the right directions. So it's kind of, the complete package, a holistic approach.
It's very practical from what I'm saying.
Practical,
That
yes.
human beings, they look to see it benefit, whether it's, economic or political or religious.
That's right.
That they're looking at something, they're saying, this is helping me. This is benefiting me and my family. I want to be a part of this. And I think the opposite is also true, that they say, look, I'm not receiving any benefit from this.
Then why have to spend?
Yeah, I'm driving 1 hour, 2 hours.
And then just have to go there and I have to spend like 1-2 hours. And even if I'm okay, because lots of times what happens, some people, they have a traditional, aspect to it. Okay, I go there, I can get a benefit of spending a moment or an hour in masjid from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's a good incentive. But what happens is you cannot transfer that to your children.
Yeah.
Right? Your children, they cannot. So I cannot resist for a long time.
Yeah.
Then my interest will slowly go down.
What's interesting is that I think that the younger generation, the ones who were raised in the West, they have more of a sense of this benefit as well, in the sense that they're very careful, that they look at a situation, they say, how does this help me?
That's
Because, the Western society is a very, the people are trying to extract everything they can out of every minute. Yeah, so they're looking at it from this perspective even more so than maybe their parents. And of course, not everything is, it should be looked at like this, but I think that when they're looking and they're saying, okay, there is no benefit for me, then it's going to be very difficult to kind of push them to come.
Yeah, the very important point to understand is not about personal benefits, right? For example, if you want to pay khums, even if you don't see the personal benefit, what you see 3 points. One is your vision and plans for the Muslim Ummah, you're trustworthy or not, and you spend properly or not, right? So that's how you spend the money you give. For example, sometimes even you go and you give the charity to whom? Red Cross. You're not getting any benefit. But you have back in your mind that portion of this will go to the needy people where I can be part of that.
So there's like communal benefit.
Communal benefit. So same thing, I wish our centers, they created that atmosphere, minimum, that if we don't have a personal benefit and we're going to take care of all the aspect of individuals of the community, we're doing for communal benefit, right? When people, they see that, wow, this board is capable, they're trustworthy, they have a vision, they're publishing the books, they are doing lots of other things, they're representing Islam, then you want to contribute and you want to donate. Otherwise, why you want to donate? Right now, alhamdulillah, lots of people, they're donating from different places where they don't even get any benefit of the Sabah's program. Why? They see that, okay, wow, they have, for example, the Al-Qissa, they have a school, they have some programs for needy people, this and that. They say, okay, this is a right way to spend. They don't see a personal benefit, but they see a communal benefit. They can be part of that and they want to invest in that area.
Let's take this and make it a little bit wider, because I had a thought that just occurred to me, that Shia-Sunni unity is also something which is, I think, very important, especially in the time that we're living, where it's becoming very difficult because there's a lot of conflict, throughout the world, and Shias and Sunnis are kind of seeing themselves on different sides of the aisle. That relationship seems to be getting a little bit more strained. The model that you've used in the Sabah Center, where you've brought these different ethnicities, all of them together, do you think that it's possible for us to use the same model for Shia-Sunni unity as well? And what I mean by that is, for example, that you could have a masjid that Shias have their own programs and Sunnis have their own programs, but at the same time they're working together and they're creating one type of unified program.
It's a beautiful point, and I'm glad that you are bringing up this point, and I think that this could be a good foundational discussion for the future plans and masajid. We do have some limited programs and limited activities which both Sunni Shia, they get together and they enjoy the common benefits, and also they practice their own rituals, right? For example, we do have a picnics, and we do have a camping. So in that camping, Shias, they can practice their own, Sunnis, they can practice their own. But we can enjoy the common challenges and common programs, right? And also we have our, interfaith, right? Intrafaith. So intrafaith, we bring once here there. I personally go to some of the masajid here, and we invite the imams of their masajid and also a good number of people. We do have in small scale, but this can be a good platform to make it the bigger one. After all, when we believe that innal masajida lillah, masjid is belong to who? Allah, not me, not you, right? Same way, Urdu, Farsi, Arabic can merge together and create a good atmosphere. End of the day, if you are Urdu, you can go to Urdu Majlis, Farsi Majlis, and so on and so forth. We can create an atmosphere where Sunni people, they can have their own practices and Shia, but in one roof. We can create that. But for that, first and foremost, what we need is the maturity and understand. And we have to understand that their needs is important and my needs are important. Lots of times when we talk about unity, what they think is either Sunni becomes Shia or Shia becomes Sunni.
Yeah. Or you whitewash both.
Or kind of, like for example, one hand folding and one hand hanging. No, that's not the unity. Unity is for the common challenges and for common goals. You can have that. I know that some of the masajids, they are operating for years in church.
Yeah.
Right? I can name it a couple of churches. There, the church is home for masjid for lots of Muslims.
Wow.
If that can exist, why we can't have a platform for Sunni and Shia? We can, right? After all, what happens is if we reach to a point there, we understand the need and we acknowledge that, yes, we have differences, but when it comes to the rituals, you are obligated to what you believe and what I believe I can practice.
Yes, yes.
If we understand that, it's kind of open mind. The problem with all of that is either people, they don't understand the complete concept of unity, or they have different expectations, or often some narrow-minded people from both sides. From both sides.
Yeah.
I know that some of the masajid, just you go and you stand there, you're not folding your hand, they will look something weird.
Yeah, I've heard of stories where they'll even take your turba.
Yeah. So there is no tolerance because they don't understand.
Yeah.
And also we have
Vice
versa.
Yeah.
I don't want to say that we are perfect.
No.
We have also same problems. So all of that has to do with understanding, having our vision clear and knowing each other. Why not? I know that some of the places, they have a small communities. Neither Shia nor Sunni, they cannot afford. In fact, what I see is lots of places like in early 80s, late 70s, when they started, Sunni, Shia, both of them, they started Islamic centers.
San Diego was like this. I remember as a child, the masjid we went to was a Sunni masjid.
Yes.
And we were, coexisting, and we had, they had their programs, we had our programs. Both sides were very happy with one another.
Yes.
Yeah.
You can have that, and you can scale it to the bigger level. But you need to understand that people, they need to see the challenges. They need to understand. And we can have a good boundaries and not hurting each other. Understanding each other, we can achieve better goals. Because after all, when we start Quran, doesn't matter, Shia, Sunni.
Yeah.
We pray 5 times.
Yeah.
We face the same Qibla.
Yeah. We face the same
We have
challenges.
same challenges day and night. When we have our children, their major problems is what they're facing the challenges. It's not about small differences, folding the hand or unfolding the hand. Those are the things we have to understand. Once our children, they understand, you guide them, And I'm sure that we can preserve our own heritage and our own faith and beliefs, and we can coexist. I don't have any the problem with that, but we have to understand, meanwhile, lots of times if you go immature,
Yes. Yes.
it will create lots of problems, to the point that either you're going to have a fight in your homes, in your circle, and end of the day you think that, oh wow, it's too much. Masjid become a place of battling.
So maybe the first step is just like you did here, is that you begin with dialogue. Begin to connect with the Sunni masajid, speak with them, connect with them, and at the same time prepare your people as well. That, because I think that the main issue, even if the leaders are ready to do this, the people also have to be ready.
You need to create a culture,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Without creating culture, you cannot. You can't impose them.
No.
Slowly, they have to observe that. If they observe that, they see the benefits, and they're not giving up their own principles, it's good. If the moment they feel that, oh, I am compromising with my principles, that's the problem. You can take one of the examples is full-time schools, Quran classes. We have in our Quran classes, half of them are Sunni people.
Wow.
Or lots of our Shia people, they go to the Sunni full-time schools, right? Granada, Silicon Valley, other schools. They are. And also in our Rise Academy, we have a lots of good number of Sunni students. They come. When they come, they join. They are spending whole day, 5 days a week. But they're not giving up their own practices. They can, right? And the parents are happy. Like our parents are happy. Lots of parents, those who are sending their children to the Islamic school, but Sunni, they're happy. Why? Because they know that my son, my daughter are doing better than in public school or any other institutions. At least my son, my daughter, they're learning Quran. The same thing when our Sunni brothers and sisters, they are sending their children to our Shia schools, like Rise Academy, they're happy. They're very grateful that, wow, my son, my daughter, they're learning Quran. They're learning lots of good, principles, which is in line with our, ideology. So you can take that example. If we are trusting in the schools, camps, picnics, intra-faith, then we can expand slowly. And once we expand slowly, knowing that what you practice, I don't believe. And what I practice, you don't believe. It's okay, no problem. But has a respect. Have a respect.
It builds a level of tolerance as well. And
Yes.
it's very easy to be intolerant when you're separate. Very easy. But I think that when you're living together and you are sharing in terms of the activities, for example, you're praying together or you're eating together at the very least, then this is going to build a type of mutual respect and tolerance.
That's true.
And we do this with our coworkers who are not even Muslim. We do it with our schoolmates who are not even Muslim. And so if we can do it with people who are Christians and Jews and, for example, Hindus and Buddhists, I feel that we can certainly do it with people who follow the same book that we do and they pray like we do and they have all of the same, acts of worship that we do.
Yeah. Again, I would like to emphasize the same point which I was, keep emphasizing, that we need to create a culture. We need to have this, tolerance that you're different than me is okay. We need to have a specific, clear expectations, clear understanding. If you don't have these points, having one center for both Sunnis and Shias, you are setting for the failure and you're going to have a bigger problem. So you don't want to do that. You have to create an atmosphere. And you need to create an atmosphere in a proper way, right? Yes, for example, if we have some speeches, if I know that my audience are youth, I try to have the topic which caters audience, right? Same thing, if I know that Sunni Shia, I want to make sure that I want to go with Quranic topics, which both they can benefit, they can agree. But meanwhile, I don't want to compromise my principles. I want to talk about Ghadir.
Yes.
I want to talk about Ashura.
Yes.
So
Yes.
when we have, for example, our fellow Shias, I want to talk about those principles, because if I marginalize that, only I want to focus in common, ground, common principles, you cannot survive.
Both sides will lose.
Yes, both, neither Shia nor Sunni.
Yeah.
You have to understand that. That's why maturity, it means you need to understand this point also. Our board members, they should understand from both sides, right? If they understand, it's good. Then I don't have to struggle to bring, for example, some of the topics which is dear and very important for me as a Shia. I can bring, because I know that the other person, he understands. But if we don't communicate properly, if we're not in the same page, I will struggle to bring these types of topics, and slowly I'm going to lose my Shia community. I don't want to do that, right? So that's why it's very important to create an atmosphere, have a setup, vision and mission, and clear, expectations, and understanding each other. And we need to trust to bring any topics which I think that is a good. Any principles which you believe. If I want to, for example, bring this topic, which I believe that is essential, whether Raj'at, or Ghadir, or the Mubahila or anything, I should, right? Maybe my fellow Sunni brothers, they don't see the same way. It's okay, no problem. Or vice versa. So we need to have a healthy environment to bring that up. So in that case, both Sunni and Shia, they can enjoy. If not, you don't have that kind of culture. Bringing them together is going to be immature, and also you're setting for the failure and lots of problems.
If we can succeed in this, though, I know that the enemies of Islam, one of the biggest things that they love to see is disunity amongst the Muslims.
Let's start from the foundational steps. The foundational step is we have to open a dialogue. Instead of just thinking that today I want to create as masjids where half Shia, half Sunni, at least begin with a dialogue.
Yes, yes.
And I invite my fellow Sunni imams, brothers and sisters, to come to our masjids, and I'm willing to go to their masajids. So I want to give them platform. They can come and they can give the speech to our congregants, and I want to go and I want to speak to their congregants.
Yes.
So we have to start from a point. We need to have intra-faith programs. We need to open our centers. We need to go to their centers. Usually what I do is month of Ramadan is a great platform. I go every night, one masjids. So we have like close to 18-20 masjids, Shia Sunni. I try to go to each night one masjids, whether Shia masjids or Sunni masjids, Shia center or Sunni center. I go there, and also we try to invite them also. Once they come, welcome. When we go there, we'll be honored to be there. So once we open that dialogue, they understand. They don't see me as a stranger. So when they see, for example, me as a amama, this outlook person, they accept. And when we bring them, our community, they accept that. So when we begin the dialogue, that's a good start.
Yes.
And then we need to have a common programs like a picnic, a camping, the Eid Mila, or some festivals or fair, something. We can start that. Once we have that, then we are opening doors slowly to understand each other. By doing so, you can create a good atmosphere. The minimum thing is we don't hate each other. Yeah. Lots of misconceptions, misunderstandings, and so on and so forth, that happens. I can tell you one of the point. When I invited one of the Sunni imams, in the beginning he was kind of hesitant to come to Sabah. He thought that Sabah is the Ibn Sabah something. So why do you have a center called Sabah? I explained that no, Sabah is Bade Sabah, as a breath of morning, the good atmosphere. And then said, okay, Sabah is mukhaffaf of what? SABA, Shia Association of Bay Area. I said, okay. When he came, he was looking for Quran. I gave him Quran, which is printed in Saudi.
Yeah.
Said, no.
I want your version.
Your version. I didn't. It was kind of, surprising for me that why he's insisting. I gave him second Quran. Said, no, I want your version.
Yeah.
So, okay, please come. He came and he saw, and then the Iran, they printed in Iran and
Beirut,
Pakistan,
yeah.
Beirut, and so same Quran. Said, no, where is your hidden Quran? I said, what are you talking about?
Did you press the secret button that opens the cabinet?
I said, brother, this is what. It was very difficult for him to understand. Why? Because that poor Imam was just told by the people that they have their own Quran. Right? When he came 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, he said, wow, now I understand that you have the same Quran as we do. The misconception, misunderstanding, and accusation was that you have different Quran. I said, brother, it's nothing. That triggered to my mind that, okay, wow, we need to have something.
Yeah.
We need to do something. And also I'm sure that lots of Shia also, they have, the the kind of understanding from Ahl Sunnats, right?
They think they're all followers of Yazid or
Something like that. No,
something
but
like
they're
that.
not.
Yeah.
So in fact, none of the mainstream Sunni, they love Yazids.
Yeah.
None of them, right? They're away because grandson of Holy Prophet Imam Hussein is dear for them also.
Of course, yeah.
They don't want to be associated with the killer of the grandson of Holy Prophet. They don't want to, right? So then some of the Shia, they have that one. Or for example, Ashura, what they do? They don't know. I said, please come. One of the Imams from last 15 years, every single night of Ashura and day of Ashura, he attends. He enjoys the majlis. Before, he thought that there is something you do, in closed door, behind the door, something weirdo. So no, we're not doing none of that. So it's good. So once they understand, it's good. So I'm sure that one Imam is a good, ambassador of us to talk. And in fact, he did. What happens is in one of the Q&A, in one of the masajid, when people, they were attacking him, that, you know what, Shias, they believe in different Quran, they have their own secret Quran. Instead of me answering, he was answering.
And they wouldn't believe you if you said it. Right?
That's true. So it was very good.
Yeah.
And I was so happy that he understands. That's very good. So my point here is the first step is open the dialogue. Reach out to them, bring them, and once we understand each other, we see, wow, what we believe and what we have a common, the faith and common challenges are more than what we disbelieve or what we disagree or what we have some challenges. It's good for both of us.
Inshallah, there's so much work to be done, Seyed.
Inshallah.
Seyed, I want to thank you again for taking time out of your busy schedule. You came, you sat with us, and there was a lot of beautiful points. There's a lot of points that need further reflection, and inshallah we can start to use these for what needs to be done in the future. So
thank you. It's my honor, and may Allah bless you and your family. And I want to see that these types of programs or dialogue can have a good place in the hearts and minds of our youth and our communities. Thank you, Zakum.
Inshallah. Thank you so much, Seyed.